Hello everybody, my name is Nicola and welcome back to my channel. This is The Frugal Cottage, where we talk all things money to help you on your financial journey. Now another week is over, so it's time for a budget update again. We've managed to get through yet another week on lockdown and maybe things are changing, although I'll be honest, it feels a bit too soon, but there we go. I'll leave a couple of links below if you want to check those out, but let's get started. So the first page in my budget planner is my bills overview. As you can see, this doesn't change. I have ordered, or in fact I've got now, a mobile phone sticker and a Wi-Fi internet one, because obviously they're fixed bills as well that should be on there. So going forward from June onwards, they'll also be on my bills tracker. The reason why I do this is I like seeing the overview of all of our different kind of standard bills and when they go out, so I can plan. And obviously the most important one on there is payday. We all like a payday, let's be honest. So nothing changes on that one. I'll turn over. So the things I'm going to talk about today are our variable expenses, the things that we use on a weekly basis, and perhaps chat about how this is changing as this goes along. Because it is obviously, a budget needs to be slightly flexible, it needs to adapt to different scenarios depending on what's kind of happening in your everyday life, and our budget is changing and adapting as we navigate the way through this, so to speak. So if I turn over, so I thankfully don't need to use the debt repayment page of this. It's just there to show that that is available to use. I will link, one of the links I will link to is this budget planner. If you don't track your expenses, I do recommend tracking it in some shape or form, whether that's pen on paper like I do because I really like that, or an app or a spreadsheet, or whatever works for you. I do recommend tracking your finances so that you can see what's going on a day-to-day basis. It shouldn't take you very long. I've got a blog post about how my budget routine takes about 10 minutes or so. I'll leave a link below to that. But there we go. So I'll turn over, I've not used that. I mentioned this sinking funds tracker page in lots of different videos now. I, at the moment, I've paused my sinking funds plan, if you like, at the moment. It just feels a bit weird to be saving for things when we're just not doing anything. But I know I might regret that decision. I keep thinking about how I intended to fund the sinking funds. So for example, I intended to fund the summer holidays one that I have through selling things on eBay or Facebook and putting the money I made from that into that sinking fund. However, because I'm not doing that, obviously the plan has to shift and adapt again, which is slightly strange. It's not the plan, it was never the plan, but obviously no one could have foreseen this at the start. But for now, sinking funds are kind of off the table. So my no spend day tracker. So I like to track no spend days. I like to see if there's different patterns, or if we're kind of spending fairly regularly and maybe try and pull that back. I know no spend days are kind of a love-hate thing. So people either really like them or really don't like them. There's no real in between. I really like them. I like tracking these. There is a no spend day tracker. This one is available on my site. I'll leave a link below. You can download it as many times as you want, print it out as many times as you want. But as you can see, so far I have managed to get 7 no spend days. So I'm counting when my husband does any kind of food shopping or any other spending, I suppose, that's a spend day, because in any other circumstances it would be me doing the food shop. I'm just not going anywhere at the moment. But that's how it looks so far. Today is going to be a spend day. I know that already. Sundays tend to be a spend day for us. It's the day we do our food shop and kind of get set up for the week ahead. Even in this kind of strange time, I'm still trying to keep to the same routine. It's what we've done for kind of months now. So it feels good to stay in some kind of routine in the madness that is at the moment. So that's my no spender tracker. I'm pleased with that at the moment. My aim is 20, so we'll see how that goes. And then the expense tracker. So you will see, for the first time in ages, I've spent something on my children this week. I've had a couple of, I think it was on Instagram, a couple of messages saying, hang on, do you never spend on your children? And obviously their food comes under our food budget. Miscellaneous, like so nappies and wipes, for example, come under miscellaneous. And normally there'd be gymnastics fees, there'd be soft playthings, but because we've not been out anywhere, I think in April, because I can kind of flip back to April's spending tracker, you'll see through, if I can find it. So for the entire month of April, I didn't spend anything on my children. That obviously looks a bit strange because of course, you know, you'd assume people are spending on their children, but because everything is kind of halted, I haven't been. But as you can see here, I spent £19 at Argos. I've got 2 young boys and they are obsessed with Paw Patrol, and I mean obsessed with Paw Patrol. And they've been kind of sat at home, and we had a couple of the toys, but I looked on Argos and they got a 2 for £20 in their toys range, and they had Paw Patrol things, and we had an Argos gift voucher with a whole £1 on it. So I decided to order them each. Well, they got to choose which character they wanted to order for themselves to kind of add to our very small collection of Paw Patrol toys, and let me tell you, they have argued over them ever since, but there you go. But I've spent £19 on that for them. Hopefully, you know, they'll last a while, so long as the Paw Patrol obsession doesn't go anywhere, which I don't see it happening anytime soon. And then the rest, oh, and the other thing it was kind of a planned purchase, but I didn't factor it into our budget for kind of this month. It was something that I'd planned to get, and then I didn't really think about A, how much it would cost, and B, if I'd add it on here, which seems daft because of course I'm going to. I have treated myself, and I say that with kind of strange joy. I must be getting old. I was really excited. I treated myself to some new shelves for my office, which I'm currently filming in. I have posted a picture of those, or did I do it on Instagram stories? Anyway, I've got some new shelves in my office that will be the backdrop for videos going forward, I think, when I'm sat talking to the camera anyway. And yeah, really happy. I'd found some quite expensive ones, and I was like, I must be able to get them cheaper somewhere else. And then my husband was like, look, these look really similar, they're just on Amazon. They came even quicker than they said they would arrive in the post, and they're up and done. And if I was slightly more technical minded, I would probably be able to insert a picture of them here, but I am not. But my next video, when I'm talking to camera, which should be on Tuesday, they will be in the background, but I'm really happy with how those look. That's an unexpected spend in the miscellaneous budget. Now, our miscellaneous budget is £100 for the month, and obviously £51.99 is over half of that gone already, so that will probably skew the figures for that in the end. But I'm so not bothered by that, in the sense that they look great. I needed some shelves. I need to be slightly more organised because my office is a bit of a kind of a jumble at the moment. I pretended that it's a really organised working space, but it's totally not. So hopefully going forward that will help me become more organised. We'll see, I wouldn't count on it. But that's my expense tracker for this week. I'm okay with that so far, so long as, and I was saying this to my husband last night, because I've ordered a couple of things online, I need to be really, really careful that that doesn't open the floodgates for me going, oh, well, I've spent this now, I can buy more things online, I can order more stuff, because that's the kind of trap I am very conscious of falling into. I've done it so many times before where I go so long without buying anything online, and then once I've ordered that one thing, it kind of gives myself permission to buy loads of stuff online, which is not the point at all. So I do have to be wary of that in the next few days, because I'm not going anywhere and not doing anything, I am finding the draw of online shopping more and more, and I'm not someone who enjoys or does online shopping particularly often, so I do need to keep an eye on that. Is anyone else finding that they're looking at things online more, like shopping wise? I'm even looking at things like home stuff, which shelves not counting obviously. I don't generally buy home things online. I like to see things in person, and I'm even looking at kind of home stuff. So yeah, so I need to keep an eye on that. But anyway, so these expense trackers are empty because I haven't done, well, in a good way, I've not got to them yet. And this is the weekly check-in page. So as you can see the numbers there, so food, I spent £79.72 this week on food. We had to pop to a couple of supermarkets rather than just one. There was a couple of ingredients that I wanted that Morrison's didn't have. So my husband popped to Sainsbury's and got those. I'm okay. We are definitely spending more money on food at the moment. We are still having to buy more branded things rather than like supermarket brands, just because there are certain things that are still really difficult to get hold of where we are. That leaves us £220 remaining in the food budget. We've still not put any petrol in the car. Now I think that's over a month. Let me just check on the April spending thing. When did we last put petrol in the car? So we last put petrol in the car on the 5th of April, and it's now, filming this, it's now the 10th of May. And we've still not put petrol in the car. So a definite silver lining to being at home more and not travelling anywhere is the fact that we are using very little petrol, which is obviously a good thing. Normally my petrol budget is about £120 a month, and we kind of use it every month, so that's obviously there a big saving, which is good. There's the miscellaneous. So miscellaneous this week I've spent £72.77, which includes my shelves, which were a planned purchase but not planned at the same time, if that makes any sense, which it probably doesn't. That only leaves £27.22 in the miscellaneous budget for the rest of the month, and considering we're only a third of the way through, we'll probably go over that. I think we'll go over that. We'll see. Unless a miracle happens, we'll go over that. And then the children's budget, so I spent £19 on those toys. So that leaves them £81 left. They are getting to the point where I know they're going to need some clothes. That's okay. It will come out of that. If necessary, it will go over that, but there's two of them, so we'll see. They're kind of wearing like older things at the moment because we're just at home and we're either in the garden or just in the house. They're kind of wearing things that if they were going out somewhere, maybe I'd say you probably shouldn't wear that, but because we're just at home and it's literally just me and the two of them, it kind of doesn't matter what they're wearing, does it? Because it's only me that sees them, and obviously my husband when he's not at work. So in that sense, maybe again that's a good thing because I'm not just rushing out to buy them new stuff, because I think they should do. Don't get me wrong, everything fits and everything, it's just that some things are looking maybe slightly worn for wear and they should probably maybe have some new things. But while we're just at home and in the garden and they keep trashing in the garden, they just get filthy somehow, and they always end up soaking, and apparently this is what having boys is like, and I have this to look forward to for years to come, so that'll be fun. But they don't stay clean, let's put it that way. So at some point I will order them some new clothes, but at the moment they are fine. Moving on, there's nothing. So I have a bill tracker as well, but because I use the front page I tend to not fill this in as well because it would be a duplicate. Depends how you want to use that. Extra income, still haven't done any of this at all. I keep mulling over whether to start, but I think I'll kind of leave that. In my head I'm kind of thinking that maybe June will be where things start to kind of shift back to normal. I'm desperately looking forward to, and this makes me sound so sad, and please tell me someone else feels the same, I want to use my cash envelopes again. I want to go and do the food shop with my cash envelopes and get all that going back to normal. I know people like watching the cash envelope stuff and videos. I miss doing them. I miss having that routine. The extra income side also goes into that. I do intend to start that at some point, but I think in my mind, I think when it gets to June, I'll start to plan more in terms of incorporating this back into whatever kind of routine is that by then. And then what's after that? Oh, the savings aim. I've not put anything into savings yet. I tend to do that towards the end of the month when I know where we are, and also I always transfer quite a bit over on the day I get paid, which is the 25th, so the last week of the month. You can see that there. So that is my budget update for week 1 of May. It feels like we've definitely adapted to being in this at-home routine, and our finances do reflect that. We haven't spent as much in some areas. So like I said, like petrol at the moment is a massive saving for us. Food is more, it's just because we're at home all of the time that we're spending more on food. And I don't know, miscellaneous, it's a very consistent spend in miscellaneous, so we'll see how that goes. How are you finding things? Are you still okay at home? I hope so. Hope things are not too stressful. And if you are a key worker on the front line, then thank you so much for whatever you are doing. I do know that I am very lucky to be able to stay at home at the moment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon.